you all. As you're all getting settled in, welcome to your onboarding call for the November executive program. I'd love to ask if you are joining us today here. Drop us a note in the chat, say hello, introduce yourself, and more than anything, also just let us know where you're calling in from today, because we love to see our international group come together in this very first moment. So let us know where you're calling in from today, or where you'll be flying in from and joining us for the program. I am, my name is Alex Nipsam. I will be your host and facilitator together with Aaron Frank for the upcoming program. Normally coming in from Amsterdam in Europe, but for this program coming in from the East Coast of the United States. I'm joined on today's call by Sarah, who is our Director of Program Operations, who you'll see more of during the program, as well as Chris, our Director of Community, who will also be joining us for a couple of days in the program, and Mario and Tashmin, who are our admissions manager and coordinator respectively. Tashmin will also be joining us at the upcoming program, so you'll have plenty of time to get to know all of us, but let us get started. I will share my screen with some slides that we will also be sharing with you as a PDF after this call. So you'll see that there's some links on there as well. As I go through these, Sarah will be dropping those same links as that you see in the chat, but once you get the PDF, you'll have the clickable version. We'll also be recording this entire call and sending it out to you, as well as to anyone that couldn't attend today. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. We'll address as many as we can, or everything that we can. Honestly, we won't leave until we've addressed everything. With that, I think we can get started. So we'll walk through sort of like what to expect from the program. We'll show you the online platform, which is really the place where we sort of put all the information that you might have or want access to effortlessly. Some of you are already on there, some of you are not yet. We'll also reserve some time at the end if anyone is struggling to get onto the platform. Just hold back at the end of the call and we can sort of like walk you through it, because there's always some settings or things that might prevent some of you from getting on there. And then Sarah at the end will also share some of the logistics that you'll need for the program. So first and foremost, and we'll start with that, is just the agenda. You'll get the agenda in your workbook, which I'll get to in a second, but I'll walk through just really briefly what we're doing during the program, which is over here, you'll see. And broadly speaking, we go through sort of like 3 themes. We start with why are we all here? Why does singularity exist? Why do we care about exponential technologies? Why do we care about impact? But also, why are you, our participants, and here, and what's brought you here, and what are you hoping to get out of the program? We start with that on day 1. Sarah will speak to the COVID testing and transportation, the logistics element. So I'll just start here at the start of program. We'll have our introduction to exponential session, which is sort of like the classic start to the program, understanding exponential technologies through that sort of singularity lens. We have a very special keynote speaker this time round. Jeremy Lett will be joining us, talking about sort of how we can utilize our technologies to be in service of all life on Earth. And Anne will be joining us then to talk about the singularity perspective on creating positive impact. We've asked you this question in your biographies as well, but this is where we sort of talk about what does singularity particularly believe when it comes to leveraging technologies to create positive impact. We'll then be joined by one of our founding board members, Naveen Jain, to talk about the mindset and that we hope you'll have for this entire week, and also this notion of like identifying what your moonshot is. So really this day was sort of level setting. We're level setting everything for the entire duration of the program. And yes, Federica, I've seen your question. We will address that. Sarah will address that when we get to logistics. So that's day 1. Then after day 1, we sort of go into the what's coming, what technologies should you be paying attention to? What are some of the changes that we're foreseeing? What are the impacts of those changes to your organizations, to industries, etc. So day 2, we'll talk about data and AI, we'll talk about quantum computing, smart cities, specifically also from the perspective of sensors, and then talking about blockchain, decentralized organization structures, climate technology, and we'll end that day with a futures wheel. I don't know if any of you have ever done a futures wheel before, but it's a really great exercise to sort of place some of the things that will be coming your way into a larger perspective of overarching vision. We'll have a Jeffersonian dinner. This, I don't know if you're familiar with this term, but it's a dinner where we have our experts host a table, and they do so by identifying a specific topic that they'll speak about at their table. So what you'll be getting is a list of topics that you can choose from, where you sign up for a specific table, not knowing who the expert behind that yet is, and then you show up to the table with other people also interested in said topic. You have a sit-down dinner and you discuss. It's a great way to get to know people from your cohort. We have a relatively, we're expecting around 80 participants, so it's a lot of people to get to know in 4.5 days. And so this is a great way to sort of start to get to know people that are interested in the same subjects and topics that you are. I can really recommend, if you are on the fence between what kind of topic you want to sit down for, try going to something that you're interested in but don't know a lot about yet. So keep an open mind, think outside the box, whatever cliche sort of phrase you want to throw at that. It's a great way to sort of get out of your comfort zone and see if there's other people to connect on. So that's just can I speak a bit louder? Yes, I can certainly speak louder. Am I okay is that better? I'm getting a hands up, or a thumbs up. Yeah. Good. I also tend to speak really fast, so I'll try and slow down a little bit. Anyways, that's day 2. Day 3 is where we're still looking at sort of like what's coming in the future. And so you'll see, also just to point out, every morning we have a wellness session that's optional. You can attend. We like to offer this because during programming like this, it's a lot of mental work, and so what we like to offer in the mornings is yoga or tai chi. I don't know the specific wellness program for this cohort just yet, but it will be something sort of light, active physical activity, sort of get your body working as well, so that you're not just working in the brain. It is early, but it is also optional, so you can choose whether to attend. Day 3, we're looking at the future of medicine. We are going to be talking about the metaverse. We'll be talking about Web3. So these are all sort of the things that we know lots of you are interested in and that you want to hear more about. That's what we'll be doing on day 3. Then we will have artificial intelligence and future of work. Also, again, bringing back that impact perspective to leveraging the technologies that you'll be hearing about and creating positive impact with them. We then have, this is a favorite of many of our speakers, and as well as myself and our staff that attend the program. We have our ethics session, which is not just a lecture, but it's also a setup for you to then have what is called the ethics debate, where we will, after you've been listening to different technologies and what they will be bringing to the future, then it's up to you to sort of debate some of the ethics, to put into practice some of the stuff that you have heard about. So this is a favorite for many of us and for our participants as well. Right, so that's day 2 and 3. After day 3 is where we really see sort of like a shift in programming, and as well in sort of like the perspective from our participants, because after that we're really starting to shift towards like not just what are you looking forward to sort of applying and thinking about in the future, but also how will you be doing that. And that shift sort of takes place around the end of day 3. You'll have heard a lot, and that's where we really see that your ideas will start coming. So that's when we sort of shift towards like how we'll be doing that. Day 4 starts with Ozioma, who will be talking to us about transformation, like how to lead transformation, especially of the kind where you have a big vision, as you'll all have, after sort of like thinking about some of the implications of these technologies. how you lead through that. We'll then have our AI bias workshop thinking about sort of like the downstream effects, the long-term implications of what your design decisions when it comes to implementing technologies will be. We will talk about 3D printing from recycled plastic and other waste resources. So again, really bringing together that perspective of not just technologies, but positive impact as well. We are finalizing the afternoon of day 4. You'll hear more about that soon. And then, and this is another favorite, not just of staff and experts as well, but also what we hear a lot of from our participants at Unconference. I'm pausing on explaining that fully now because I will get to that in a second, but I want to make sure I highlight this so you can start thinking about this ahead of time. And I'll say more about that in a second. Day 5, so our final day together, still thinking about that, like how to apply, what do you bring back? These are intense days, right? And what we don't want is to just throw like a fire hose of information at you and then send you off without any sort of tools or ideas of how to implement some of the stuff you hear. So again, we're sort of working this day to get you to be able to apply some of that learning. We'll talk about biomimicry with Robert. We'll talk about how to leverage the collective intelligence within your organization or other groups that you're working in. And then Amanda, one of our VPs, will join us to talk about how to sort of build a strategic narrative around a vision that you have. We end with 2 more sessions, one about learning to work with uncertainty, right? So that really is sort of like a mindset that we like to propose and adopt when it comes to working with exponential technologies. Is the level of uncertainty increases, of course, manyfold, and how to really leverage that to your benefit. And finally, planning your journey ahead after the program. We have a graduation ceremony and then a closing party at the end of those days. You will have access to this agenda. This is just a high-level overview, and I'll be back at the program, of course, to talk much more in depth about every individual session. But I wanted to give you this ahead of time so you can, I don't know, get excited ahead of time. All right, so you'll find that here as well. Next up is, this is just a list of best practices that we see people benefit from. Of course, everyone works and learns differently, but some of the things that we see really do work. One of the most important things is permit yourself the space to be present for this program. They are intense days, they are long days, there is a lot of information thrown at you. What we sometimes see is that people attend the program and then they plan meetings to go like off sites for the meals, for the dinner. It really helps when you are trying to retain as much information as we're about to throw at you, to debrief with your fellow participants, share meals, share thoughts. And so when I say be present, but the recommendation really is be present for the entire program. There is plenty of time before and after to take more meals, but if you can leave work at work, it really is the best practice. The other thing I want to sort of reiterate or highlight is be patient with yourself. Some of the learning will take place not during the session, not in the week after. There will be things that click for you in the months after the program, and we will share recordings as well as additional materials for all the sessions. And so be patient with yourself in terms of letting that information sink in. I like to use this example. There was a couple of cohorts ago, we had a participant who got COVID, I think 2 weeks after the program. And so they used that time because they had to isolate. This was a while back, so they still had to isolate for 2 weeks. They used that time to rewatch all of the sessions, all of the recordings. And they emailed me later and they said the session that I hated the most during the program later turned into my favorite session. It just needed time to like marinate in my brain, and rewatching it. This is again intense 5 days, but the learning journey is a lot longer than that. So be patient with yourself for that. The other thing that we see that really works well is take notes, share your notes, do that however you want, but really do it however best works for you. Everyone learns differently. You'll have a digital workbook, you'll have a physical workbook, you will have a notebook, you will have whatever means you need, do it in that way, and do exchange those. We see a lot of people just exchanging their notes with others. Some people make social media posts per session that they hear. Some people just do their own little shorthand. Whatever way works for you is fine, but be generous in sharing those, in sharing your insights, because other people will pick up different things. There is our platform, and we'll get to this in a second. What happens is beforehand, people are like, yeah, the platform. Afterwards, everyone's on the platform. So there's that sort of curve. Many materials are available on the platform. We ask our, and I will be uploading these in the weeks getting to the program, but the platform is open for you now. We ask our experts, is there anything that you'd want to share beforehand? And if there is, we'll put it on the platform. If we ask them, is there anything that you recommend after the session? If there is, we put it on the platform. So there's plenty for you to go back to. This is also where we share the recordings. It's also where we share the graphic murals that we make of each session. And so it's not required at all beforehand to go into that. It's not required for you at all to go into that afterwards, but they will be on the platform, and we'll get to that in a second, and we'll show you how to get on the platform as well. The other thing that I really do want to point out is that one of the single most important resources that you have available to you is the people in the cohort with you. Those are your peers. Many of them, and I've read all of your applications, many of them are in very similar situations as you find yourself in, facing some of the similar challenges. So getting to know each other and sharing where and what you're working on can be a great way to find collaborators, supporters, just people that can help you on your journey. We have our own like events that we see a lot of our alumni on, but I also happen to know that last month 7 of our previous alumni just had a meeting just in Portugal to get together and work on some stuff again. It's a serious it's a serious connection you make with people. The other thing I want to point out to that is it can be a pitfall to think that the only experts are the ones on stage. There are going to be 80 experts in the room with you, and it's good to leverage that expertise in the room as well. Okay, to that point, what we've asked, or what we've sent out, are these biography questions that we've sent out to you. Many of you have already filled them out. If you haven't yet, there is a link that Sarah will be putting in the chat as well, where you can fill out the biography page. This is, we will print all of them and hang them throughout the space, because getting to know 80 people in the room in 4.5 days is hard. And so if you have everyone's bio up in the room, what you can do is just look around. What I've seen happen a lot, and this is why we started doing this, what I've seen happen a lot is people get to know each other on like day 5, and they're like, oh, I wish I could have talked to you when we were sitting in that session. So we put these up so you have some place to sort of go and read and see if there's people that you want to make a point of getting to know. So if you haven't yet, then you can use that link to fill yours out, and we'll be printing them. If you want to fill them out on site, we can also still print them there, but that's just ahead of that. Okay, I've mentioned the unconference. Has anyone ever attended an unconference before? Does anyone know what that is? No? Okay, so an unconference is the opposite of a conference, if you will. What we do is we have a special evening where instead of our speakers presenting, we ask our cohort to present. So we'll have 12-minute slots for participant presentation. It's really quick. It's just back and forth, in and out. It is more than anything an informal, and I stress that word, informal, exchange of information and just things you're working on that we put on really so that we can work towards that notion of collaboration. Or if you're walking around with an idea, it's like, here's a vision I have and I'm just looking for feedback. Perfect unconference. One of the best unconferences I ever attended was someone who just gave a little mini masterclass on handshakes. It can be just that. If you have a specific area of expertise that you want to share, if you're working on an idea that you want feedback on, that's where the unconference is a great place to do. It's also the place where you'll suddenly realize the level of expertise in the room with you. It is meant to be fun, but also sort of like provocative in ideas. So I want to bring that up now so that I don't sort of overwhelm you with that on day one, where I'm just like, and by the way, you're invited to do a 12-minute presentation. There's limited slots, so we won't have everyone present, but it's just if you're thinking about something, do, and I actually from your applications have a couple of you that I'll be sort of poking to do an unconference as well. So think about if there's something you'd like to share. Best practices is just something you're passionate about, something you're excited about, something you are interested in hearing other people's perspective about. I'll reiterate the point of informality and just it being an exchange of ideas. We'll also have you sign up for that at the program, so you have some time to think about that. Okay, furthermore, here we go. Then this platform that we've been talking about, and I see that Sarah has already shared the links to the membership. This is your group. So this is part of our bigger online platform that we have just open for everyone. But within that platform, and you can get there by going through, I'll show you how to go there in a second. This is your group where only your cohort will be able. So this is where we will have you. Oh goodness. Here we go. You go there by clicking on discussion groups, going to yours, and then going to the November 2022 cohort. Again, this is all your group, and we will have posts for all the different sessions. We have some pre-materials populated in there already. And of course, and most importantly, we will have, so I'll be sharing those materials for our sessions later today. But most importantly, and what everyone at this point cares about, is that you will find your workbook there. So you will be getting a physical copy of your workbook. I'll stress that again, because we've had people show up with a self-printed workbook. You don't need to do that. We will have a physical copy for you if you want a physical copy, but if you want to get access to the digital version, you can download it here. That is also on the platform, so that makes sure that you're already on the platform, where we'll be sharing those other session materials today as well. That is it from a programmatic point of view. Before we transition to sort of the logistics, are there any questions that you have about the program, about any of that? Because I know there's a couple of questions, logistics speaking, but before we transition to that, is there any questions on logistics? Sorry, on programs? Good. And then I'm going to pass it to Sarah, who has a couple of points for logistics, and then we can get into some of the questions in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. Just to reiterate, we are so excited to have you all on site and really looking forward for an incredible week for the executive program. Just to go through the logistics things, when you arrive on Sunday, we will have a mandatory COVID testing between 11 and 12:30. My apologies, I will update these slides before it goes out. The agenda is correct on that timing. So we do require everyone to be vaccinated as well as a negative test result to get on the bus that takes us to opening programming. I know it was asked a few times, the majority of our programming is at the Ames Well. Whenever we do go off site, we will have transportation and everything provided for you. So as long as you can get to the Ames Well for the start of the program, we will get you everywhere else that you need to be. Hotel check-in is at 3 p.m. They really do a good job of allowing early check-in, as they know that we're registering early, but it is not guaranteed if you are checking in on Sunday. And if you have not booked a hotel yet, please do so as soon as possible. The end of this week is when we lose the booking link will no longer be live. So we encourage everyone to try and do it by Wednesday if possible. For the COVID mandatory testing, if you do receive a positive result, we will ask you to isolate away from the group. Depending on where you are traveling to and from, you can find out what the travel restrictions are to get back home. And you'll be able to roll over into another executive program, and as well as have access to a virtual stream of that week's programming. We do have a partner that administers these tests. And it is a very quick thing to sign up for. If you do not do it ahead of time, you can sign up on site. And if you are arriving outside of the testing zones, please send admissions or myself a note so that we can coordinate a self-administered test. And it will be required to take and wait for the results before entering any of the group areas. For meals, we have lunch starting on Sunday through the closing party dinner on Thursday night, all provided for you. Thank you to everyone that has dietary restrictions that has sent them in. If you have not, please make sure to do so at your earliest convenience so that we can make sure that all of your meals, that there is a proper meal for any accommodations. At the meals, if it is not clearly labeled what your dietary restriction is with the other food, just let any of the staff know. We will work with you to make sure that you're getting your food on time. And then, looks like Frederico created the WhatsApp group. Very exciting. One of the things we have, there is a chat on the platform, but we find that since the majority of our attendees typically are in WhatsApp every day, that it's great to have a link like that. So I will also make sure, Frederico, to include this note in the slide deck so that we can make sure that everyone gets signed up for the group. During the week, we encourage you guys to share photos, all of that. And as Alex mentioned recently, a group of past attendees met up, and that is a very common occurrence. So really excited to start getting that networking going. And thank you, Frederico, for creating that. The last thing that I just want to touch on is attire and the Bay Area climate. With this program being in November, we could have sunny days, mid-70s, or it could be raining and in the 60s. So definitely make sure you check the weather ahead of time. But no matter what, it does cool down at night in the Bay Area. So make sure you bring layers. You will learn the battle of the room temperature will begin when you arrive. We try to keep the room at around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius. If that is warm for you, dress accordingly. If that is cold for you, dress accordingly. We do our best to make sure that everyone is as comfortable as possible, but understand that some people's temperature preference is different. Are there any other logistical questions that I can answer for you guys?
And feel free to speak up just directly as well if it's quicker to just shout.
Should we
It looks like we covered.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry to interrupt you. What's the rhythm right now? Should we bring FFP masks, or are we going without masks because we do the testing?
Generally, we see that trying to get everyone to maintain masks is a challenge, which is why we do the testing. And we will have plenty of masks. You're free to wear a mask, but in general, we see a big portion of the group won't be masked. And so for that reason as well, we do the testing, and so that we know everyone at arrival has been tested negative. But you're more than welcome to wear a mask, and we have masks as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah, for sure. Great question. The other thing I wanted to just add to that, Sarah, as well for the food is because of the dietary restrictions. Sometimes they won't put your food out, right? Because so that it doesn't run out before you get there. And that's why we have you check with the staff like, hey, I'm so-and-so, and these are my dietary restrictions. So they will get you the food that's especially for you, and then it won't be out. So that's a good thing to sort of keep in mind, so that they ensure that your food is also there.
So the other question about the COVID test. So we will be doing a test as we get to the hotel, right?
Yeah.
At first day.
Yeah.
So this link. So this testing link, we need to register to do the test, or just arrive there and.
It just saves time. So if you have already signed up, then they will have your profile, and then you can just walk straight to testing. Otherwise, you'll have to sign up and then go to testing. So it's just a bit of sort of admin to do beforehand, but not necessarily.
Ciao.
And then one more thing about the temperature. So the reason why we especially put that in is because I don't have the latest number. We'll have more than 20 different countries represented in the room. And let me tell you, 20 countries do not agree on what temperature it should be inside a room. So that's going to be, that's the challenge. And so that's why we make sure to tell you beforehand what temperature will be in the room.
No, no severe winter at that time.
I mean, the Bay Area can go any which way, honestly.
Okay.
We've had November programmings where it's mid 80s Fahrenheit in November and February. So definitely check the weather app ahead of time, as the Bay Area can be a bit unpredictable, and everyone should keep their fingers crossed for nice sunny Bay Area weather.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions on any of this?
Hi. Well, about the wellness program in the morning, is it workout that we have to go back to our rooms, have a shower and then go to breakfast, or is it a quiet, smooth thing?
It's not a high intensity workout. It's a combination of yoga and Tai Chi. You're definitely moving. I find a lot of people do prefer to go up and change again. And you have an hour from the end of wellness till when programming starts. So definitely enough time to quickly change and come back down for breakfast and be in programming at 9 a.m. And there also is a gym on site if people do prefer a more physical workout in the morning, as well as a lot of people run around the area, as there are a few different trails as well as just sidewalks to run on.
Great, thank you.
I do believe this is the very earliest that we've ever seen a WhatsApp group be created. So this cohort has a head start on that. That's beautiful to see. All right. Well, I think our contact information is in this, what we'll send out as well. So if you have any questions ahead of time, don't hesitate to reach out. We're all, great question. Yes. Okay. Prep work. So great question. No prep work required, but like I said, I'll be updating the private group today with a list of all the sessions and all the possible pre-work that our experts have suggested. Not required, not needed, but there for you if you want to have a look and you want to see if there's something that you want to get into ahead of time. So I'll be updating that later today, and that should be ready for you to consult should you want to do prep work. Yeah, so all the links that are in here, Philip, we sent this entire deck out as a PDF with all clickable links, so you'll be able to access all of that for sure. And we got another question in the chat. So again, to reiterate, if the COVID test is positive, if you test positive at arrival, we ask you to isolate and we can set you up in your hotel room. You will get access to a live stream of the November program, but you're also going to be able to roll over to a future executive program to attend in person. And we'll work with you to see what your travel options are if you want to stay around or if you want to travel back home.
Another question.
Go ahead. This is great. That's what we're here for.
How much can we share? Are we allowed to share in social media of the contents that we will be receiving?
Beautiful and perfect question. I'm really happy you asked that. So anything you want. You can, like I said, we've had participants who sort of like their brain thought in social media posts. And so they were like live reporting like, oh, this is what I heard and this is what I see. There will be content that our experts from the stage will ask you not to share. And they are generally really good at making sure that they sort of pause and say, because we'll also be recording. And so they'll say, we need to stop the recording here, or they'll share sensitive information. And generally speaking, that will be your sort of like, so standard is you're free to share, unless they say, listen, here's something I'm about to share with you. This is sensitive, or this is not known yet. Some of our experts work with like proprietary information, some of them with embargoed information. And so they'll indicate when something is not free to share. And so you can safely assume that anything else you can share.
And also, just to add to that, we ask that you do not take and share any video clips of these sessions. We share the full recordings starting the Monday after the program. And we also ask that those that you do not share with anyone. So the recordings and any video content is just for yourself, but photos, anything like that, Alex live tweeting, you can definitely, sorry about that. You can definitely share as you please.
Yeah, there's one, one thing to add to that. We will have participants who can't have their imagery shared, and they'll indicate that by the color of their lanyard. So you all get a badge, right? Where you wear, if someone has an orange lanyard, we ask that you don't share their pictures online.
Any additional questions? I thought I saw a hand raised on the attendee list, but then I'm not sure if we got to that question.
That may have been a thumbs up.
Awesome. Well, as Alex mentioned, you will have our contact information as well as we are on the platform. So let us know any questions you have leading up to it. And we are thrilled to see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. See you then.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
and for anyone
you.
that hasn't been able to get on the platform, if you want to hang back, we have Chris on here who can walk you through any issues you might have with that. But for other than that, thanks, everyone.
And also, we'll send you a summary with all the links that were shared in the conversation today. You should have it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
All right.
Hi, last question.
Go ahead.
Well, just maybe so for Sarah and Alex, but can you please tell in the WhatsApp group who are you, so I can make you admin?
Oh, yes, I haven't joined yet. I was just trying to like signal to Sarah that it existed, but I will join.
Yeah, to give you the admin powers.
Love admin powers. Thank you for already setting that up, Federico. That's genuinely the fastest I think we've ever seen that.
Perfect.
Here we go. Okay, so I'm in. My number is +316. Oh, that's Sarah. Actually, Sarah can be admin and can make me admin. She knows who I am. She knows who I am. Yeah, well.
Perfect.
Hopefully.
hopefully she knows who I am. But great thinking, Federico.
Thank you. I think that this helps for more ice breaking before the program starts.
It's that usually people are too awkward at first to sort of propose it, and sort of they're all like shy around each other. And I really like when people are just like, listen, we're all in this together. Let's go. We'll be doing this together. So I really like that. You've already set this up. That's really great.
Perfect.
Okay.
Anything that I can help.
It's appreciated.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Was there anyone left on the call that needed help getting onto the platform? Good.
Excellent. Then we will go ahead and end the meeting. And like I said, if you have any questions, just feel free to holler at us. Thanks, everyone.